Japan. Japan is the #1 place I've always wanted to go to on a trip, with Italy being a close second. It's home of the samurai, anime, it's got a juxtaposition between traditional culture and architecture with modern metropolises, futuristic technology. It's a nice mix match of a whole bunch of different things coming together in a really nice package. It's not a candy bar. What? Candy bar? Why am I saying candy bar? So, I'm planning a 3-week trip to Japan in 2024. Now, I've decided to document me planning this trip to help give me some motivation, to help kick me up the backside so I can actually plan all of this, because it's a lot of work to plan a trip. And I thought, you know what, I'll record my journey of planning everything and preparing everything, just so it's like, boom, I've got it already. Help give me that motivation I need to push through the planning stages of this trip and make sure I actually book everything. So this video is basically going to be sort of a rough overview of what I want to do for the 3-week trip. It's not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to be talking about things I want to do in Japan, the places I want to go to, a rough idea of when I want to go, and sort of a rough idea of the order in which I do things when I go there. Then once I've done that, I'm going to do individual videos focusing on the individual cities and places that I want to visit. And those videos will go into more detail about the sort of itinerary for those individual places. And then once I've done that, I'll then do a sort of summary video, summarizing everything I've spoken about in this video and all those individual videos, and sort of finalize the plan, basically. Plan the plan, prep for the plan, execute the plan, do it in that order. So hopefully, and in that summary video, we'll have everything planned and the final itinerary will be set for the trip. And then everything after that will be like prep videos, so things I want to do before going to Japan, so like things I need to learn. So maybe I might need to learn some culture etiquette, maybe a little bit of the language would probably be helpful. For example, like knowing what the symbol for man and woman is, so I don't walk into the women's toilets. That would be very good. Even worse if that was in a laundry, that would definitely not be good. I need to learn how to use chopsticks because I don't know how to use chopsticks, so that would probably be handy to know. I should probably learn how to use chopsticks before going to a country that doesn't prominently use chopsticks. That'll probably be a good idea, Josh. Yeah, that'll be a good idea. So, first things first. My top 10 things that I want to do when in Japan. Because we got to put in a top 10 list in here somewhere. Okay, number 1. Eating delicious food. Japan is known for its sort of deliciously food. Deliciously, that's not a word. Delicious food, there we go. Sushi, that's obviously sushi, ramen, those are ones most well known. And I haven't tried sushi before, so I've always been a bit hesitant to try raw fish in the UK. But I think in Japan, I'm willing to give it, sushi a go, because I imagine it's probably it's going to be a lot fresher probably in Japan, which is a bit weird because we're also an island nation, but that's a UK thing. And ramen, I've had like pot noodles and stuff, but that's not like proper ramen or anything like that. So yeah, I like to try those. But then some of the less well-known stuff like sukimen, yakitori, okonomiyaki. What's the noodles ones? Yakisoba. That's it. So try some of the fish dishes, try some of the meat dishes, some of that street food. I'll try all that good stuff, give it all a go. Number 2, I would love to see the cherry blossoms in Japan. Everyone makes a big deal about the cherry blossoms in Japan, the sakura trees all blooming and full bloom, and that's something I think for a first trip, I really quite like to see that. Once I've seen it once, I'll probably be, satisfied with it. If I was doing any future trips, I maybe wouldn't necessarily need to go see the cherry blossoms once I've seen them the first time. But for a first trip, I think, yeah, this is definitely something I want to go see. Number 3, anime merch. I want to buy a lot of anime merch because obviously it's the home of anime. It's where lots of different types of merchandise for all their different series are. I definitely want to get some merch from One Piece, the Fate series, and also maybe like Steins Gate, the Monogatari series, JoJo's, something like some like artwork, some nice artwork, like some One Piece or JoJo artwork. Maybe get some of that. Some sort of little knick-knack type of things, like from JoJo's, like the stand arrow. I'd really love to have like a stand arrow. That'd be really cool. Or a devil fruit, like a devil fruit model. That'd be pretty cool. Staying at ryokan. Number 4, staying at a ryokan, or a traditional Japanese inn. A traditional Japanese inn, the futons layered out, the tatami mats, and like a big Japanese breakfast. I've heard a lot of things about the big Japanese breakfast. Apparently it's too much food, but it's a first. I wouldn't have had it before. You gotta have it at least once, I think. Traditional Japanese breakfast. Onsen. A lot of ryokans have onsens there. I quite like to try that out. So Japanese ryokan, definite thing I want to do when I go to Japan. Number 5, temples, shrines, and castles. So that's sort of like your Kyotos, your Nara, Himeji, all those sort of places where traditional shrines, you know, Golden Pavilion, Silver Pavilion, the Fushimi Inri Taisha. I probably butchered that completely, but nice one in Kyoto, nice shrine with the torii gates going through, a lot of, like hundreds of torii gates that you go through. So the Kiyomizu-dera Temple, that's another one that I would really want to see going to Kyoto. Number 6, Mount Fuji. I really want to see Mount Fuji. You know, you see it in all the like pamphlets and stuff. And it's one of the first 2 things I think of when I think of Japan. That and Tokyo. I mean, like here, look, it's on all the pamphlets. You know, Mount Fuji in every pamphlet. You see this on pretty much every pamphlet in Japan for Japan. So yeah, Mount Fuji, definitely see Mount Fuji. Number 7, a city view of Tokyo. There we go. A city view of Tokyo. That is something I really want to see. Like when I go to like a big city, I always like to get a nice city view. I want to see obviously Tokyo Tower in the background. That'd be really nice to take some pictures and make some nice memories. Number 8. This one's going to probably be a bit strange. A Japanese convenience store. I've heard so much about Japanese convenience stores and how like they're the best thing ever. Basically, like all the food from them is great. It's like nothing like you'd get here in like the UK or the US. I just love going into like a foreign supermarket and just seeing what it's like compared to like the ones here in the UK. Like when I went to Sweden, I went into one of their supermarkets there just to see what it was like, and it was like really clean, and they had a pick and mix in there. I was like, man, Sweden, you're doing something right. You got a pick and mix in there. I really like to browse around, see what they've got in there, and try some of the foods on offer. A bit of a weird one, but it's something I really quite like to see. Number 9, the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and Museum. I think it'd be really fascinating just to see the museum dedicated to some of the remnants of what happened from the atomic bomb going off in Hiroshima. Just seeing sort of the artifacts from that time period and sort of reading about people's stories during that period. I mean, I imagine it's going to be somewhat similar to like the 9/11 museum in New York. I imagine it'll have a similar sort of vibe to that. And finally, number 10, the Shimanami Kaido, the riding dragon. Is what I've termed it in my head. It's basically a series of bridges over like 6 islands that's from Onomichi to Imabara City. That's located in the Seto Inland Sea of Japan. And I've seen videos about the Shimanami Kaido and it looks absolutely stunning. The views over that cycle route looks absolutely brilliant. So that's something I really like to just do, the 70-kilometer cycle across the Shimanami Kaido. And really, I want to see it for the views and just take up like the sun, the sea. It just seems like a lovely atmosphere doing that cycle. Okay, so now let's get on to the places. So this is going to be again the specific places, cities, and areas I want to go to. So based on kind of what stuff I want to see in Japan. So we're going to be using the trusty friend of Google Maps. You know, gotta use Google Maps. Sort of point to the different cities and stuff. So absolutely essential for me is Tokyo and Kyoto. Absolutely essential for a first trip, in my opinion. Tokyo is like a modern metropolis. I really want to go see the areas of Shibuya, Shinjuku, Asakusa, and Akihabara. Gotta go to Akihabara. Center of basically anime culture. Gotta go there on my trip. Those 4 main areas are sort of my main reason of going to Tokyo. And there are some other areas as well I want to check out. But again, I'll probably focus more on that in an individual video. For Tokyo, 4 days I think should be a good amount of time to do all the main stuff I want to do over there. Okay, so Kyoto. Again, you got so many temples and shrines in Kyoto. Like I previously mentioned, the monkey park, I really want to go to the monkey park. The bamboo groves, and explore sort of the Hiroshima and Gion areas in sort of eastern part of Kyoto. Again, some people have said you can probably do Kyoto in 2 days, but I think I don't really want to rush Kyoto. So again, for Kyoto, I'm going to do like 4 days. I think that would give me enough time to look at all the temples and shrines I want to see and get a good feel for like the atmosphere. So same amount of time dedicated to Tokyo. Next up, Osaka. Osaka is it's the kitchen of Japan. It's known for its nightlife and all of that. And there's a few things I want to see there. There's like the Osaka Castle and some more like shopping areas. And sort of nightlife there. I want to kind of check that out. It seems like a nice area to sort of soak up the atmosphere. It's like real cyberpunk vibes. Neon lights everywhere. So sort of like an Akira kind of feel, but minus the dystopian parts. Yeah, minus the dystopian parts. I think for Osaka, it'll probably just be 1 day. I think I can do all the things that I would want to do there in a day. So at the moment, I've got that down for 1 day. Fourth, Hiroshima. So again, that's obviously where the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and Museum are located. And there's a lot of other things in the Hiroshima area that are quite interesting. There's Miyajima Island, which has that like shrine you see in like the ocean. That's something I quite like to see. That one is probably going to be 1 or 2 days. I might do Miyajima Island as 1 whole day, and then do sort of the city of Hiroshima, which covers the the museum and park. Have that as a separate day. Number 5. This one's kind of covers large area, but again, the Shimanami Kaido. I really want to do this 70-kilometer cycle for the Shimanami Kaido. Now, the Shimanami Kaido is basically this entire chain here, as you can see on the map. You start here in Onomichi, and you end here in Imabara City. Now, from what I've seen, if you try to do the Shimanami Kaido in a day, you're going to be dead by the end of it. So if you're not like a professional cyclist, or you do cycling regularly, everyone pretty much recommends do it in 2 days. So I'm going to be taking their advice on that. So for this, I have to start quite early. And if the cycle itself is going to take over 2 days, then I'm probably going to need 2.5 days to get to Onomichi, then a full day to get halfway through the Shimanami Kaido. After the first day, stop here on Mishima Island. That seems like a good halfway point. And then on the second leg of the cycle, get to Imabara City, then get the train from Imabara City all the way here to Matsuyama City, which is where I plan to spend, I think, a day to sort of recover from doing the Shimanami Kaido and just have a sort of browse around. There's Matsuyama Castle located there and Dogo Onsen. So adding that in on top, that's sort of 3.5 days in total. Matsuyama City is also number 6, so that's 6 in total. Number 7, Mount Fuji. Now for Mount Fuji, there's a few options available. So number 1 is go to Fuji Kawaguchiko. I'm probably butchered that as well. Or Fuji 5 Lakes. So that's kind of the area sort of immediately around Mount Fuji, where there's like 5 different lakes, with Lake Kawaguchi being the main one. So that's kind of like the main Mount Fuji area. So that's definitely one option, and that's probably my favorite option at the moment. But the second option is Hakone. So this area is known for its ryokans. So again, like I said, a ryokan is definitely something I want to do on the trip. So I think the Fuji area is probably where I'm going to do that. Now Hakone, I think it's one of the top 3 hot spring towns in Japan. So that gives it a bit of an advantage. And possibly I might even maybe do both. Maybe go to Hakone first and then Fuji 5 Lakes. Or Fuji 5 Lakes and then Hakone. We'll see how it works out. But at the moment I'm thinking 2 full days for the Fuji sort of area. Number 8, Himeji. Now, the reason I want to go to Himeji is purely for Himeji Castle. So that's that really big white castle. I think it's the most beautiful one in Japan, I think, from what I've seen. And from that, it looks like Himeji is probably just a half day. You don't even need a full day to do Himeji. So for that one, I'm probably going to do it as either like a half day trip from either Kyoto or Osaka. I'm leaning slightly more towards Kyoto though for that one. Or I'm going to do it sort of like a journey, or going from either Kyoto or Osaka to Hiroshima, or Hiroshima to Kyoto or Osaka. That's probably the best way to do it. But again, I'm still leaning more towards the half-day trip option, as if I go to Himeji when going in between Hiroshima and either Kyoto or Osaka, I'm obviously going to have my luggage with me. And now I know there are coin lockers at Himeji Station where I could store my suitcase. However, there probably aren't that many large suitcase containers there. So to be honest, I'd rather not have to deal with the hassle of trying to find somewhere to store my luggage when I get to Himeji. I'd rather just do it as sort of like a half-day trip, so I don't have to worry about that. So that's what I'm sort of leaning towards at the moment. Okay, next up is Nara. So that's number 9. Yeah, number 9, Nara. So Nara is, again, it's really close to Osaka and Kyoto. From what I've seen there, it's kind of known for its shrines and temples and stuff, like Kyoto. And there's like a giant Buddha statue located in sort of Nara Park, which I really want to go see. So that's sort of my main reason for going to Nara. But from what I've seen, again, Nara seems to be just like a 1-day thing. And I'm probably going to do it as a day trip from Osaka, because I wouldn't really want to go to Nara as a day trip from Kyoto, as it's just sort of, you're going from one area that's focused on temples and shrines to another area that's focused on temples and shrines. So I think I'm probably going to do that as a day trip from Osaka. So the number 10 spot is Kamakura. So Kamakura is located not too far from Tokyo. I think it's like an hour to get there from Tokyo. So it's a nice sort of day trip to go on. Yeah, so Kamakura, again, is another place that has like a giant Buddha statue located there. So that's, again, that's kind of the main draw for going to Kamakura. And maybe I might also go to Yokohama, or maybe like the way back, because there's like a giant Gundam statue, like a 15-meter tall Gundam in like Yokohama. That looks really freaking cool. I'd really quite like to see that. I know there's a like a smaller one, like Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn in Odaiba, which is another place I would like to go to in Tokyo. So yeah, so maybe go to Kamakura, maybe go to Yokohama on the way back, going back to Tokyo. Okay, so that's my 10 places. So Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, the Shimanami Kaido, Matsuyama City, Mount Fuji, Himeji, Kamakura, and Nara. So those are my 10 places that I want to go to on this trip. So when do I want to go on this 3-week trip? Like I said earlier, I really want to see the cherry blossoms in Japan. So I'm definitely going to be going in the spring season. If this wasn't my first trip, then I'd probably even still go in the spring period, because summers in Japan are apparently brutal. Apparently it's stupidly hot during the summer. I'd probably only go to Japan in summer if I, say, wanted to climb Mount Fuji, which is only open during the summer months. And winter, again, it's very cold. And obviously it's like the Christmas period during like December, so it's not really an ideal time to go. Fall is a good time to go as well, for the fall colours and all that. It's slightly less busy than spring, so if you don't want it to be as crowded, that's an option. So the cherry blossom season is late March to early April. Now, I've looked up when the sort of holiday periods in Japan are. So there's a nice 3-week gap in between the school holidays and Golden Week. So that's kind of like the ideal optimal time. But unfortunately, that doesn't overlap with the cherry blossom season. Now, in terms of the order I want to do things, I know I want to do Tokyo last, because I imagine that's where I'm going to be doing most of my shopping. So I don't really want to be carrying all sort of souvenirs around with me. It's a nice thing to add on at the end of the trip. You know, it's something to really look forward to towards the end. And because I want to go see the cherry blossoms, I want to see that mostly in Kyoto. So I'd probably do Kyoto first. So again, have something nice and big at the beginning. Plus, it's probably better to stay in the same area initially when I get there, because I'll be suffering from severe jet lag probably on the first day at the very least. So it'd be nice to sort of recover a bit from that. So it gives me a bit more time in Kyoto as well. I get to see the cherry blossoms. Now, because it's Kyoto, and because it'll be cherry blossom season, that's peak tourist season in Japan, and peak tourist season for Kyoto. Now, I do have a strategy to handle that, you know, deal with probably the overcrowding that's probably going to be in Kyoto during that period, during the cherry blossom period. But I'll talk about that more in the focus video for Kyoto. But yeah, I think Kyoto first and Tokyo last. I think those are set in stone for me. So in terms of what to do in between, I think now from that I could do from Kyoto go to Osaka, then Hiroshima, and then Tokyo, and then add the other stuff in between those places or during those places. However, if I did that, that means when I go from Hiroshima to Tokyo, it's going to be like a 5-hour journey on the bullet train. And to be honest, I'd much rather break that up. So what I think the best order to do it in is Kyoto, Hiroshima, Osaka, Tokyo. I think that's the best order. So obviously, if it's 3 weeks, I have 21 days. So day 1, that's arrival day. So arriving in Kyoto. So I'm not going to do anything that day. I'm just going to probably recover from jet lag for that day. Then I'm thinking 4 days in Kyoto. I'd probably add Himeji as a half-day trip from Kyoto. So add that in there. Then once I'm done in Kyoto, get the bullet train down to Onomichi. Then do the Shimanami Kaido, and end up in Matsuyama City. Then get the ferry from Matsuyama City to Hiroshima. And then spend my days in Hiroshima. Then get the bullet train from Hiroshima all the way back up to Osaka. Spend my days in Osaka, do my day trip to Nara while I'm in Osaka, and then once I've done Osaka, get the bullet train to Mount Fuji, so either Hakone or to Fuji 5 Lakes, one or the other, or I might end up doing both. Work that out in the focus video for that. And then once I've done Fuji area, go to Tokyo, and then while I'm in Tokyo, do the day trip to Kamakura. And then day 21 will be the leave day. So yeah, so that works out. So that's my 21 days. I think that's a good rough order. That might change, things might change a little bit once I've gone through the focus videos on each area and for the final summary video. But I think that's a good order, I think, for now. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good starting point for this. So Based on that, I'm probably going to do 6 focus videos. One for Tokyo, one for Kyoto, one for Osaka and Nara, one for Hiroshima, one for Onomichi, the Shimanami Kaido, and Matsuyama City, because I think it makes sense to put those all together. And then one for Fuji, which will be Hakone and the Fuji 5 Lakes. And then the summary video at the end. So yeah, I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan for going forward for the planning stage of this planning trip. Yeah. Hey guys, Future Josh here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments down below. What did you think of the plan? What things would you change? What things you'd add? What things you'd remove? I'll be really interested to find out what your thoughts are. And what is your dream trip to Japan? What would you want to do on your first trip? Or if you've already been to Japan, what do you want to do when you go back there? And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. JoshProf out. Peace. That's a free. Peace. There you go. Right then. Japan. 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 Plug myself in. Japan. Japan. Blah 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 blah. Japan. 1 ear, 2 ears. There we go.